this topic. So I just wanted to bounce it off some of you folks. I called it the legacy of blame. Of course, if you watch the movies or previews these days, I thought maybe I should call it the blame legacy, right? Sort of along the Bourne legacy. Might be a little more catchy, but what I've experienced over the years is this environment where we have this legacy of blame that often creates dysfunctionalities in the organization. So how do we address them? Well, where did it all begin? It all began a great deal with development, right? Development would underestimate sizing. They thought it was a week and it was 3. They slipped their scope. We're going to only ship the Windows version. We can't ship the Linux version. Or we missed their dates. So how did development react? Well, they basically started multiplying. We really think it's a week, but we're going to load in 3. I'll only commit to a subset, and then I'll delight you when it's more. Or, you know what? I'm not going to commit to a date. I'll commit to a quarter, or maybe a half, or maybe a year, or some would say I'll commit to a decade, right? Because of this legacy of blame, people created these passive behaviors that forced them to do that. Now, it's gotten better in the development side. It's a good thing. Now we're doing sizing, not how many hours, how many days, but now we're saying, can we come up with t-shirt level sizing? Small, medium, large, extra large. Let's not talk about specific size. Let's look more at relative size. We're getting feedback, something that a lot of development shops are calling planning poker, where we vote on sizing. And now we're talking not about output, but we're talking about velocity. That's a good thing. Scope. Now we're looking at burn down, burn up charts. We're doing scrums and we're doing communication. And also now with time, we're doing iteration so that we know we're in trouble earlier. But what about product management? Where's been some of that blame? So when you said 4, that means I only have 1 minute left?
3 minutes.
Am I counting down or up?
Yeah, 2 minutes. Yeah, 2.5 now.
The way you described it was the opposite of that. All right, so where do I experience? Because realize every week I'm teaching product management. And I'm seeing these bad behaviors on the product management side. Here's some areas where we often get blamed. We get blamed because our product's not meeting revenue goals. We get blamed at times because we don't have high quality. I know a team out of Houston, Texas, where product management is the QA group because they shipped a product that didn't have good quality. How about usability? How about innovativeness and competitiveness? What about poor prioritization? And also, we oftentimes get blamed for the development problem too. Is that fair? So how have we reacted? Well, how we've reacted in product management is we either sell it ourselves. Every quarter we go out and pitch the product ourselves. We run QA, do beta. We become the UI expert even though we have no skill in it. We become the designer because we don't have a designer. Or a popular term I like to share, MSU it, which means we make shit up. Okay? Or we become the project manager. We go to every daily stand-up. We go to every daily scrum. Now, how do we react to this? What are some of the answers? You know, if you look at the pragmatic marketing definition of product management, you're going to find that if you're doing all these activities, you're not probably doing product management. So what are some things we can do? You know, in credit to Simon Sinek, he wrote a very, very insightful book called Start With Why. Let's talk about why we do this. We found that people behave in a certain way for 3 primary reasons. Where they came from. They came from development, they'd much rather do that. How we're paid, and who we work for. Those are 3 primary inputs that drive that blame behavior. So how do we fix that? First of all, you got to recognize it's the problem. You got to communicate with the rest of the team, assign accountabilities, quit spending so much time with each other, and put some action plans in place to fix it. And finally, what are we going to be able to do after this? We're going to have better teaming, partnership, delegating, and we're going to be knowing and doing what our real job is in product management, not everybody else's job. Thank you for your 5 minutes.
clarify the
countdown.
for the presenters, does it work better to have 3 when you have 3 minutes left, 2 when you have 2 minutes left, 1 when you have 1 minute left, and then you're done?
Yes.
So it's a countdown, so is everybody clear on that? Okay, so when you have 3 minutes left, you'll see the 3. When you have 2 minutes left, you'll see that. When you have 1 minute left, you'll see this. When you see this, it's time to get up.
When they're scratching their ear?
Thanks, John. So the next one up is Charles Demo with the power of crowdsourcing. Charles?
Okay, I will start. Timers. All right. So the first thing that I want to tell you all is this could be dangerous. So take my advice with a big grain of salt. And the reason I say that is I used this technique and people thought I'm crazy, but it worked, which is weird. So there was a book that I had read a couple of years back. It's called The Wisdom of the Crowd, or Wisdom of Crowds. Fascinating book, really interesting. I kind of read through the thing and I thought, no way in hell does that work. That's interesting read. And in fact, the guy way back in the 1800s who started this investigation is saying, he started off this investigation saying, people are stupid. More or less, probably that's true, but he basically said that people are stupid, and I want to prove it. I got to prove it en masse. And it turns out, so he starts a study on wisdom of crowds. He starts taking averages from people, in terms of what do you think the bowl, how much does that big bowl weigh? He finds this amazing stuff, which is that when you take an average across a whole lot of people of a very specific thing, like saying how much does that bowl weigh? What's my forecast for the next season? Does that sound familiar? You actually find that from a lot of different perspectives, you start getting to fascinatingly accurate numbers. Even on something crazy like forecasting, which is what I try. And granted, I did this back at HP, so you can't fire me now, HP. Because I don't work there anymore. There you go. Take it up with the line. Take it up with the line. But I also was the most accurate forecaster. After 10 years of doing this, I had some kind of an art. What I started doing is triangulating, and I used this as an interesting point. I started going out and asking people, okay, what do you think? Here's the graphs for my technical aspect. Here's the graphs for my graphical engine. Here's the graphs for the industrial engine of how we've been doing on market share tracking. What do you think the next quarter looks like? Whatever you want to guess it at. I don't care how you did it, just give me a number. And I started tabulating this across our operations team, marketing team, the management team, the product management team, et cetera. Even people who, some of them kind of, knew my product line roughly. And the thing that astounded me is I started tracking this and I found this incredibly accurate number that I kept coming up with. And of course, I used it in the triangulation because, of course, when you're in front of management, you got to prove that this is the right forecast. So you go through the methodology of here's the dollar value, here's the units value. We use some squiggly line here, bing, and we got a forecast. And I also kind of tied this in. And again, got this amazing accuracy. I remember training some of the people in the States about it, and they all kind of nodded and said, yeah, right. Yeah, you're just not telling us how you're doing this, Charles. So what I want to do is, have we got the little pieces of paper? Yes. Okay, so already got one. Hopefully you all got a pen. I've got one pen that I can lend some folks. Take an estimate. Take a guess. At the end, I'll tell you what the number is. Take a guess at how many pages have I got here, roughly. Take a look. I don't want anybody counting, but give me your best guess as to how many pages have I got here. Total number of pages of paper. Not molecules, nothing like that. Yeah, just regular. It's not white sheet. It's slightly thicker than normal paper. It's slightly thicker than normal paper, but I mean, I'll just take it. And as I said, what I'm going to do is I'll tabulate it at the end. We'll just see. Did it really come out to basically something like that? So, my suggestion to all of you is if you try this technique when you're doing your next forecast, it is interesting. It'll give you another data point. Use it. Or track it a couple of times and then use it if it actually is giving you some accuracy. And the third part, which perhaps I didn't do enough, is hide it. Hide it. Don't tell anybody you're doing this weird thing because nobody's going to believe you anyway. But, interestingly enough, it worked. That's it. And if I can collect. Oh, but you know,
Is that Charles or that's what the number is? No,
Oh, that's at the end of your session.
Thank you, Charles. Samantha Sharkov talking about mentorship. What's in it for you? So timers, reset your timers, and remember 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, 1 minute left. Tap row.
Okay. Fellow product managers, tell me, what do you think we all have in common?
The title.
Okay, so we all work in product management or product marketing, and that was it's obvious. But there is at least one thing that we all share. We all came here today on a Saturday because we're passionate. And being passionate is to care about your profession and to be dedicated to continuous learning and development. And what is a better way to develop professionally than through a mentorship? Last year, I applied for a mentorship program at Toronto Product Management Association. And I was fortunate to have Lee Garrison as my mentor. Lee is one of the organizers of today's event. He is very highly skilled and experienced professional. He is a former president of Toronto Product Management Association and also one of the leaders of product management community. And my benefits from the mentorship were twofold. First, I improved my knowledge on product management best practices and topics related to product management. Second, I started thinking strategically about my career path. Through my discussions with mentor, I realized where do I see myself in the future and how to get there. I have also been encouraged to step out of my comfort zone and go beyond the ordinary duties. When you have a mentor, it's like you're in a team. And it's great to have someone who can provide you with sincere feedback and support you in your efforts. So what's in it for you? As a mentee, you can learn from the knowledge and experience of your mentor. The mentor will share with you tools, tips, and real-life examples. He can also guide you in your career path by telling you how to develop your skills. He will also tell you what courses and certifications to take or the certifications that you might consider taking. Also, your mentor can help you to expand your network, and that's very important. Now, what's in it for you as a mentor? As a mentor, you're volunteering your time for a good cause. And it's a rewarding experience because you actually see the outcomes of your efforts. And you can also learn. For example, through a mentee, a mentor can learn about a new industry and its specific challenges. So if we all contribute, the outcomes will be better products, and ultimately it would be a better outcome for the economy. I invite you all to participate in the mentorship program. The mentorship program is highly rewarding to both parties involved, and just help others grow, and you will grow yourself. If we all contribute, the benefits will be highly beneficial. Thank you.
Since we have a minute left, I just want to add to Samantha's points. In the TPMA, we actually run a mentorship program, and Samantha was in the pilot program that we have launched. So if anyone is interested to join the mentorship program, here's my 2-minute spiel that come out for a meeting or just go on a website and you can contact us. And we do we'll match you, depends on what you want as a mentee and what the mentor wants. We do an extensive program match you guys.
Cool.
You have to be a member.
And like like how you add that in at the end.
Okay, any of the commercials anybody wants to do?
Thank you,
So next up we have Alwyn Econ, and Alwyn's going to talk about studies learned in a series that he did talking to CEOs. Called CEOs Talking. So timers will reset. So signals have 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, and then. Okay.
Hang on a second. Don't start timing me yet. I gotta get this thing working first. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's working. Okay, so we're videotaping this, and anybody who wants these slides, you're not gonna want them. Can ask me, I'll give them to you. So don't take any pictures, don't record this thing. They're distracting to me, and today I'm going to get through, you can start the timer now. I'm going to start my own too. Okay, I'm going to get through 2 presentations. 2, you thought 1 5-minute presentation in 5 minutes was enough? You're going to get 2 5-minute presentations in 5 minutes. So we're going to talk about 4 lessons about marketing learned from the CEOs of B2B software companies. My name is Alwyn Econ. I'm a product management and marketing consultant. I have a website called inquisitivemarketer.com. I interview the CEOs of B2B software companies about marketing and product management and put the videos up there. Alan saw those and said, why don't you do a session on that? I said, okay. Here they are, 4 lessons about marketing from the CEOs of B2B software companies. Now these are going to sound, they're not going to sound that new to you. It's kind of like, how do you lose weight? Well, barring any hormonal difficulties, you eat right and you exercise. So these are the, these 4 things are going to, but they're bear repeating. Number 1, be there. Be there. These are the things that come out when you watch these videos at inquisitivemarketer.com. The first one is be there, wherever your customers are. If they're on Twitter, be on Twitter. If they're on LinkedIn, be on LinkedIn. Steve is thinking, aren't customers usually in their offices? Why don't you be there? Right? Yeah. Well, that's the old Steve. The new Steve says, air travel is kind of expensive and it's bad for the environment. Why don't you phone them, Skype them? Right? Just as good. I like that even better. Number 2, be there before they need you. By the time they need you, by the time they've written the RFP, you've already lost. Forget about it. Number 3, say something useful. Now here we might remember the rule of the grandparents. Am I stealing this from you too? Grandparents don't want to talk about their kids, but they love to talk about their grandkids. Okay, it's not yours, it's mine. I made that up. So, B2B, especially B2B, which is where I play, B2B software companies, they don't want to talk about you. Don't go there talking about yourself. They really don't even want to talk about themselves. They want to talk about their customers. Why? The same reason you think about your customers all the time, because they give you money and grief. Those 2 motivators. Thank you. Let them know you'll be there when they need you. So you're there before they need you, and you tell them, listen, if you ever need me, if you ever have any questions about this, here's how you contact me. And those are the 4 lessons about marketing from the CEOs of B2B software companies. We're at about 2 minutes. That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're cutting into my time. Now we're going to move to 4 lessons about marketing learned from the guy in the bank who hangs out in the courthouse parking lot. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Anybody been? Yeah? Yes. Right? Uh-oh. Microsoft.
Windows.
All right.
Pause the timers.
No. I'm a soldier in the field. Nothing big. You guys, come into the room. So you get a parking ticket. You have the slip on your dash. The cop didn't see it. You get a parking ticket. You got 3 options. I tell you have 3 options. You can either pay the thing, you can request a court date so you can put the whole system on trial, or you can request to go talk to a prosecutor and say, hey, listen, explain the thing to him or her and see if they'll throw it out. The annoying thing about that is when you go there, the irony is the first thing you have to do is park and pay for parking. Right? There's 1 meter in the whole courthouse parking lot, which means there's the first of many lineups you're going to see. And while you're in lineup, you notice that there's a white van parked there. He's been there since morning, and he is there every day. On the side it says, you've been in trouble with the law? You know he's So on the side it says, we'll help you with your ticket, paralegal services, or something like that, right? And he's a very friendly guy there, and he says to the guy in front of you, because he says this to everyone, how'd they get you? And the guy in front of you says, I don't know, it's the craziest thing. I pulled over to the side of the highway to eat a sandwich. I get a ticket. Since when is it against the law to eat a sandwich? And the guy in the van, very friendly, he says, here's what I know about that. There's no law against eating a sandwich on the side of the highway. They probably got you under this section of the Highway Traffic Act, which is disobeying a sign, so it was probably just for emergency vehicles. And then he says, good luck, take my card. And if you have any questions, give me a call. And that's all he says, and hands over his card. What have we learned about marketing from this guy? Now this stuff, unlike the other 4 lessons, this stuff is genius. Number 1, be there. Right? If your customers are in a parking lot, be in the parking lot. Number 2, be there before they need you. This guy isn't chasing people crying as they come out of the courthouse because things haven't worked out for them. But guess what? If you're coming out of the courthouse and you've got a tear on your face, who are you going to call? You're probably going to call this guy. Say something useful. He knows his stuff. Now, and the fourth thing is let him know you'll be there before they need you, right? Now, I don't know what happens if you call this guy. I don't know if he's a rip-off artist. I don't know if he gives you really good legal advice at a fair price. I don't know. But watching the first half of this game, this guy's on point. He really knows what he's doing. So, on that point, with good luck. Take my card if you have any questions. Let me know. Thanks a lot.
Videos again?
InquisitiveMarketer.com.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so next up we have product management certification from Hector Del Castillo. Did I say that properly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So timers were reset. Signals at 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, 1 minute left. Cut the probe.
Everyone's being done on time, even before time, so this is
Excellent.
amazing.
Hopefully we're all going to get an award of some kind for being exactly on time.
All right. So, hi, my name is Hector Del Castillo. I am with AIPMM. And the topic of today's discussion is what you should consider becoming certified. AIPMM, for those of you that are not familiar, is a membership-based organization. We are the certifying body for product managers, brand managers, product marketing managers. And we have, to date, certified people in 65 countries total as of today. So we are by far the largest, in essence, product management association in the world because we have several thousand members around the world, and we provide the following certifications. We started with the CPM and CPMM, which are the ones that have the widest adoption to date. Since we have introduced 3 other certifications. One is Agile Certified Product Manager, for those of you who are product managers working in agile work environments. And these 2 we introduced this year. Certified Innovation Leader is about leading innovation in your organization and your role as either product manager or a product development manager or some other type of management position where you're leading innovation teams in projects that are about new ideas, new product ideas. And finally, we also introduced the brand management. How many of you are today in brand management? What we find is that a lot of the product camp events focus on mostly technology-based companies, and that's not where brand management is today. But there are companies that have huge global brands, like Procter & Gamble, and others like Procter & Gamble, who are consumer products. Of them actually having product managers, they actually manage brands. Each different brand is a different product. And that's what this is all about. It's for consumer industries or actually companies that have consumer products. So what gets certified? Here's a slew of things of why you should consider as individuals becoming certified. One of the questions that I get often asked is, well, who's asking for this? Are there any companies asking for it? And the answer is typically no. There are no companies today. However, what we know is that today we have companies that are coming to us to certify their entire staff. These are companies in financial services, and not just small companies. These are multi-billion-dollar revenue companies as far as annual revenue. We have companies that are in technology that have been around for a long time, and now they're saying, we're seeing a gap. In this economy, in this changing business landscape, we need to have a competitive advantage. And what they know is that the way to achieve a competitive advantage is to train and get their product managers and product marketing managers to really understand what is the body of knowledge that makes up product management and product marketing. So we're today certifying entire staff of product managers within companies, and usually these are leaders and innovators. Guess what that means from the adoption rate curve? Who usually ends up buying your product first when it's a brand new product? Innovators, early adopters. Those are the companies that are coming to us today. And so who do you think is going to follow? How many of you are in companies where you're certified, you're considering certifying your entire staff today? You know what that means? Your companies are not early adopters or innovators. You need, and what happens usually is that early majority, late majority are the ones that follow that, and that's what's coming up the curve. So this is what's coming, and this is the reason why you should consider becoming certified. For those of you that want to know more, we do have a webcast that's coming up this Wednesday. Here's the information. You can contact me for this. This is a hyperlink, so you can go to that registration page on our website and register for this if you're interested. Learn more about why you should consider becoming certified. And also, if you are a member of AIPMM, we also offer mentoring to members. We match you up with people with more experience and also assign people who want to find a mentor or protege, not necessarily within your company. Our members are made up of thought leaders, experts that are actually helping us define the body of knowledge. Today we have over 50 thought leaders and project and experts with lots of years of experience altogether helping us define what is the body of knowledge of product management and product marketing, and we're about to publish that later this year. I'm one of the contributors. There we have other people that are helping us do that, and we're actually offering people who are in those positions are actually willing to become mentors. So we're helping you. If you want to find out more, it's another webcast where we're going to talk about matching mentors and proteges together if you are an actual member in good standing for AIPMM. Finally, here's my information, and that's my contact information. And also at 2:30, I'm having this talk, so if you want to know more about creating a product strategy, this is at 2:30, we'll be over in classroom number 1. So with that, thank you very much.
We have Eric up to talk about something for everyone.
So I decided to do this morning, so there's no PowerPoint. But I'll start off by saying that my experience generally comes from startups and smaller internet and technology-based companies. But we can translate it to what your experience is and the products that you're working on. And when you're starting a new product, a new internet product, in order to grow your user base, you have the option to just kind of hope that it goes viral. Most companies will supplement that by advertising to get the viral coefficient above 1 so that it's spreading faster than your user base. But in most of the situations I've been in, I've found it more effective and cheaper to work with an existing company who has the same kind of customers that I want and use them as a channel partner to grow my user base. Now when you're doing that, it's important to provide something for everyone in the value chain. I'm going to express that by sharing what I did in my last company, and hopefully it can be of benefit to you. So I identified the problem when something happened in my personal life, and I thought, an obituary isn't really a good way to memorialize someone. It doesn't say enough about them. And I thought about all the different ways that I wanted to solve that problem for the consumer, and I came up with an online memorial. Great idea! I went on the internet, and lots of people have done this already. But a lot of them, they went with the advertising. They were like two people that let's spend $5 a day on Google Ads, promote our product, and so people would put memorials up on their website. But then, like a couple of months later, they would go out of business, and all the memorials would be gone. I didn't want that to be me. So I decided if I'm going to make a go of this business, I need to work with funeral homes. And in order to work with funeral homes, I need to provide benefit to them as well as their customers. And so I interviewed 2 funeral directors, and I thought I knew everything about this sexy funeral industry. And then I interviewed a few dozen more, and then I found a much wider opinion. And they had all these differing perspectives on whether social media should be integrated or the level of privacy that the family should have in their memorial. And I was able to build all those features into the product so that it was a product that fit their needs, gave them the flexibility, and provided comfort to their clients. I was able to come up with a pricing structure that provided revenue to the funeral homes. But the most valuable feature for the funeral homes was a way that they could reach out to the people that had already been in their buildings. So a typical funeral home, in a given week, you have 100 or 1,000 people that come in their doors every week for a service. And these are people that have already experienced their level of care. and have attended the service, but as a funeral director, you can't stand in front of the room and say, "Hey, is everyone enjoying the service? You should come back here and pre-plan your funeral."
Yeah.
You just can't do that as a funeral director. But through online memorials, they had a way to reach out tactfully to this same audience that, again, had already been in their buildings, already experienced their service, and reach out with a friendly, "We're holding this community event. Would you like to come? Do you know how much funerals cost these days? Would you like to learn more about pre-planning your funerals?" And that was a way that they could reach out to their clients. That proved to be the most valuable feature. And so by providing value not just to the consumer, but to my channel partners as well, I grew a large customer base by providing value to something to everyone. There was a venture capital backed firm competing as my little bootstrapped company, and they went out of business long before I did because they had determined the same thing. They needed to work with funeral homes, and they provided value for the funeral homes. They provided revenue, and they provided a good product for their consumers. But in their pricing model, it didn't really jive with driving sales to the funeral home. So they would meet with funeral homes, and the funeral homes say, "Great product, love it, we'll sell it to our customers." But then there was no incentive to then actually push that product to their clients. I'd kind of seen that problem early on because you're thinking about not just a funeral home, but who's in the funeral home, who's meeting with the clients. And so the pricing structure that I came up with was just objectively, well, you can probably sell this to 10% of your clients. Digital product doesn't cost me incrementally to provide it. So if you have 100 funerals a year for the price of 10 products, you can offer it to all your clients. And then pay a monthly subscription to get that. And so then the onus was on them to give it to as many clients as they can, whether to sell it or to include it in a package. And again, it just provides something to everyone along the chain. And I hope you can translate that into the businesses that you're running and the products that you're developing. And that's the lesson.
So timers, how are we doing for time? Pretty much on
Great.
time. Okay, excellent. So next up we have Alan Kay and our
Richard.
Me. Okay. And you guys are going to talk about solution focus for Agile and Scrum.
Go. Dig right into it. Okay.
Timers, we're good?
Are we good?
All right.
We're starting. We don't even need 5 minutes. How many of you are working in organizations or working in jobs where you're spending your time solving problems, addressing problems, right? How many of you would like to work, would prefer to work on solutions and identifying solutions and implementing solutions rather than spending time thinking about problems? Everyone's saying, of course. Alan and I don't even come from a strict product marketing background, but we recognize that Agile is a great model for what you do. We've got an extra tool that you can layer onto it that will make it work even better. It's called Solution Focus. It comes from the world of family counseling and sociology, and it simply starts with better questions. Asking better questions, understanding what's working, understanding what will be happening in a better future, and what that will look like for the organization, what that will look like for you personally, and then simply taking small steps to get there.
And you'll notice that Richard didn't talk about discussing the problem, the causality of the problem, etc. We skip that stuff. Would you like to practice a little tool that helps you see how to get around those people who love to spend time talking about the problem with you? Good. You turn in pairs, turn to somebody, one of you be B and one of you be A. This will not harm, you will have some fun doing it. Pick somebody right beside you, decide who's going to be and who's A and who's going to be B, and I'll give you instructions.
The good news is it's short, because we only have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Your attention will be useful. Only one talker at a time. Here's your instruction. A, complain about something. I love to complain about people who drive down the middle of the rope highway on the 401. They slow down the traffic on both sides, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. Just have a good 60 seconds complaining about it. B, shut up, don't say a thing, listen, take a few notes. Go for it. A's complain.
All right.
Okay, so
Thank you. A's. I know you had a good time. Now shut up. B's. I want you to compliment them. It may be hard. For example, when I first had my rant about driving down the 401 and those middle road drivers, the person said to me, well, obviously you're very passionate about driving. You care about the speed of cars and blah, blah, blah. So use that one. B's, would you address the person by saying either what I liked about what you said or what impressed me about your statement was, go for it. Thank you. Thank you very much. A's, would you say thank you? What happened there? What happened in this 90 odd seconds?
Empathy. Once you relate with them.
A lot of listening. What else?
Validation.
Sorry?
Validation.
Yeah. Acknowledgement. And we didn't have to talk about the problem. What happens is when we go into the problem, we start going into causality. Here, we skip the problem and we can start talking about what we want to have happen instead. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you, Richard.
Next we have timers. How are we doing? We're still on time? So next we have EUI, Eleanor. She's going to talk to us about the 5-star mobile apps. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. We can just quiet it down a little bit. While Eli's going through his, because we've done so well on time, we probably have enough time for one or two more. So if the presentations have inspired anybody in the audience.
Just one more. Alan, 2:15, right? We only have time.
Okay, time for one more. So if anybody in the audience has got inspired listening to the presentations and has one, they can do that. Or I've got one that I prepared just in case we need a bit more content. All right, drivers, 3, 2, 1, and
Hey guys, my name is Eli Alainer, and I'm a product manager for a local organization called Extreme Labs. We build mobile applications for a lot of companies over here. Quick question. How many of you are carrying cell phones? Carrying smartphones in the audience over here? Right. So the vast majority of consumers in Canada...
Sorry, question, is a BlackBerry still a smartphone?
Yes.
Oh.
Thank you very much. So the vast majority of customers in Canada and in the United States are carrying smartphones. Now I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how to design mobile applications for smartphones that actually are rated fairly highly in app stores. This is going way too fast. I cannot talk this fast. So first of all, I'll talk 2 minutes a second about the marketplace. So as we are today, there are two major platforms that you should be thinking about when you're building mobile applications: Android and iOS. Android is getting a lot more adoption, especially over here in Canada, in the United States, but especially in Asia and other countries. So, with one of the things.
Maybe just use the keyboard.
Okay, I'll use the keyboard.
You're going to drive yourself crazy.
I'm going to drive myself crazy.
We're enjoying it though.
I know. So one thing to note over here is that things are changing really, really quickly. The people are on average changing their phone every 2 years, and the percentages that you see on the slide change pretty much month by month. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how do you, what your customers expect when they download mobile applications, and how to develop them such that you rank fairly highly. It's all about, when you think about ratings and when you think about how people think about your mobile applications, it's all about satisfying their expectations.
You create expectations from the moment your customer hears about your application for the first time. It carries through the App Store depending on what you have over there, depending on the ratings that you get, and it carries on to your application. Your customers rate your applications on how you perform on you and the expectations that you've set early on. What's important to remember when you're designing your mobile applications, that your customers are likely doing something else. They're somewhere where it's beautiful outside, they pull out their cell phone, they have a minute or so to engage with your application, and they're done. So when you're thinking about what to put in a mobile application, it's super important to think about what can be done in a single minute of engagement. It's when you're building mobile applications, it's super important to define what is in scope, what is not in scope, because it's very easy to go into scope creep in mobile applications, and the faster you release your application to market, the better you're going to know how it does. Complexity in your mobile application pretty much equals lower rankings. If your application is complex and the user has to think about for a minute or two how to use it, you're going to get lower rankings. Transitions. When you talk to customers, a lot of them get very excited about those sexy transitions in your applications. Those are very nice, but your application should work without those transitions. The transitions are great to communicate how you move from one point to another, but your application should work without them just as well. Same goes for gestures. All right, I'll go with those ones. Notifications. People talk about notifications all the time. Notifications are great. I had a great picture of a dog over there with his tongue out. I want you to think about notifications in a very similar way. When a dog comes to you for the first time and he's very excited, that's very cool, and you like that engagement. When the dog starts coming to you every 5 minutes, that's when it becomes really annoying. And from our research, most customers do turn off notifications for a lot of their applications. Last topic I want to quickly talk about is how do you ship those mobile applications and how do you actually get them to market. What's important to think about over here is you have to iterate quickly and you need to ship that product even if it's inside your organization once a week. So the shipping cycles that we use internally are once a week and it's working beautifully. What that drives is your development team and your product management team is to have a conversation with both the customer and the internal development team of what is the product currently doing and what are we going to do next week and how are we going to iterate on it next week. Once the application is done once a week, we look at it on the device, and what we discover on the device is tremendously beneficial because when you plan your application on PowerPoints and designs is one thing. When you actually start playing with it, you discover a lot of things that are completely different and you want to change. I guess I'm out of time. Thank you.
So timers, how are we doing for time?
We're 18 here.
We got time for one more?
No.
Time's out?
Yeah, 2:15.
Okay. Okay. So I'd like to thank all of our presenters. Hopefully you enjoyed this type of format. It's definitely harder, as you probably saw, to condense. What Charles wants to do is just findings.
30 seconds. This is a moment of humility, integrity, and honesty. It didn't work this time. 406, and the actual number was 201. So it doesn't work all the time. That's why you did the triangulation method also. You nailed it. There was one person who actually wrote their name on it. You got 201. So I'm surprised. Impressed. Very good. Thank you.
So what I'd like to wrap up by saying is hopefully you saw that it's more challenging to present in 5 minutes than it is to do a longer form. And we all know how important the elevator pitch is. So I commend those who did present. I challenge the rest of you to think about maybe volunteering next year to do this type of format because I think it really hones what your key messages are. Because as you can see, 5 minutes isn't very long at all. So it really forces you to get your message down tight. Okay? Thanks again for presenting.